All right, I'm going to continue now with 3.4. This time, instead of using substitution, I'm going to show you a system, an example that would be better for linear combination. Now, the reason is because it's going to be a lot more difficult to get a variable by itself. 3x plus 2y plus 4z equals 11. 2x minus y plus 3z equals 4. 5x minus 3y plus 5z equals -1. You can see that none of the variables have any, or none of the equations have a variable by themselves. Every one has 3 variables. They're all lined up nicely, so linear combination will work out to move anything around. But I can't just sub in. Okay, it would take even getting any of these variables by themselves, or I'll make a nasty looking equation. So I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm gonna use linear combination. I'm gonna try and make variables cancel out. So the process I'm gonna use here, I'm going to start with my top 2 equations. Okay. With that top 2 equations, I'm going to look and see what variable can I make out using elimination like we did in 3.2. And looking at it, again, just like before, I have the freedom to make anything cancel out. I'm seeing that my y here is just minus y. There's no leading coefficient. There's no coefficient with it. So I'm just going to multiply the bottom equation by 2, just like regular elimination, and I'm going to add those together to cancel out. So I'm going to rewrite 3x, 2y, 4z equals 11, and multiplying through gives me 4x minus 2y plus 6z equals 8. And if I add those together, my y's are going to cancel out. 7x plus 10z equals 19. Okay, so there I at least get it down to 2 variables, so it looks more like an equation we have been working with. Okay, now with that, I'm going to now take my bottom 2 equations. So I'm going to take these and rewrite them over here. Here's one point. See all the work I'm doing on the copying. Make sure you're copying things down correctly. So just real quick, double check. Look good, everything is copied down. Now, since I made the y's cancel up here, you have to do the same thing here. So you really do, when you start doing these problems, look at the big picture. Okay, what's going to be the best variable to cancel out with all the equations? So luckily, since it was just minus y, it's really not that much different. I'm going to take that top equation, multiply by 3. Okay, multiply that through by, right there. So you got to make sure you watch everything. Make sure you multiply that last part as well. Okay, and then next one I'm going to start rewrite 5x. Now this time, since it's -3y, I'm going to be subtracting this time. So make sure you watch your signs as you're subtracting through. Get x, the y's cancel out, plus 4z equals 13. Okay. And now what you should notice here are 2 equations, the results. Okay? We have 7x plus 10z equals 19, x plus 4z equals 13. If I take those 2 equations, let me rewrite them so we can see them a little nicer. Okay, the next one is x plus 4z. Okay. Now we have a system like it looked like in 3.2. Variables line up. Let's make one of them cancel out. Okay, I'm going to make the bottom x into a 7, so I'm going to multiply that bottom one by 7, make the x's cancel out. Doing the math here, that should end up being 91. I'm going to subtract to make the x's cancel out. negative 18z equals, that ends up being 72, negative 72. All right. So we have negative 18z equals negative 72 divided by negative 18. And that should end up being z equals 4. Double check my math there real quick. Oh, yep, z equals positive 4. Okay, and now we have our, well, actually I'll check my answer key. Yep, okay, we're at z equals 4. Okay, now we have one of our variables. Going through the same process as 3.2, I'm going to take that z, plug it into one of these equations to get my x value. So I'm going to take the one where x is already by itself, x plus 4z equals 13. Okay, and doing that, we're 4 times 4 is 16, subtract. We have x equals negative 3, so now we have a z, we have an x, we still need to find y. Now to find y, I'm going to go back to one of my original equations. Okay, that's where y is. I made y cancel out here, made y cancel out here, so I need to go back to one of the original ones. All of them look pretty big and nasty, so I really don't think any of them is better, any of the one is better than the other one, so I'm just going to pick the top one, the least amount of negative values. Okay, so we get 3 times negative 3, we got negative 9 plus 2y plus 16 equals 11. Do some combining of the like terms, you get 2y plus 7 equals 11. Do your math, subtracting 7, y equals 2. So now we have x, now we have y, now we have z. Negative 3, 2, 4 is the final answer. Okay? And you can see how much work this problem is. Okay? So let's go through the process real quick. Taking the top 2 equations, did some linear combination to make a variable cancel out. For that one, you have freedom. Okay? Any of the 3 variables you can make cancel out. Okay? And we'll look at the result down here of equation that has 2 variables. Taking the bottom 2. Okay, bottom 2 equations, you have to make that same variable cancel out. I made y cancel out here, so I'm making y cancel out down there. Now taking the results of those 2 problems, those 2 sections, now I'm going to set up a smaller system of equations, making a variable cancel out. I made the x cancel out, and this is the same process as 3.2. I found my z, I found my x, and with those 2 variables, I'm going back to one of the original 3 variables equations, and I'm finding my 3rd variable. So I picked the top one, I plugged in, found my y, and there was my answer. Negative 3, 2, and 4. Okay? So let's just look at those steps in writing real quick. Okay, you saw the steps, you saw them work out that way. Now in writing, okay, solving 3 variable, 3 equation systems. Take the top 2 equations, make one of the variables cancel out. This is the freedom one where you can pick any of the 3 variables. Pick the one that looks the easiest work for you. Take the bottom 2 equations, make the same variable. And that's probably the most important part there. You are making the same variable cancel out as you did in step 1. Okay. Take the results of steps 1 and 2 and solve the system to find the value of the 2 remaining variables. So whatever variables cancels out here, okay, the 2 remaining ones is what you're going to solve for in step 3. And in step 4, you're taking those 2 and you're plugging them back into one of the original equations. Take the 2 known variables and plug them into one of the original equations to find the 3rd variable. Okay? Take your time. The biggest, most common mistake for this section is basic calculations. Watch your adding, watch your subtracting, multiplying through. You even saw I made one quick mistake where I forgot to multiply the 3 and 4 when I was multiplying through. Okay? Make sure you're multiplying everything. Make sure you watch your signs. Okay? So that's section 3.4. Problems are a little bigger, but none of the math is different. The skills are all the same. Elimination and substitution to get variables by themselves so you know those values or you can find those values.